All right, let us take a look now at our lead this morning as we speak, the State Capture Report. State Capture Commission Chair Raymond Zondo has handed over Part 4 of 5 of the Commission's report. The report focuses on findings into corruption and capture at Eskom, Alexkor, EOH Holdings, Free State and the National Treasury. It also makes strong recommendations for the protection of whistleblowers. Over the past year, state capture whistleblowers have faced threats to their safety, one even being killed in the case of Babita Deokaran. But what do whistleblowers have to say about this report and its recommendations? Are they optimistic of prosecutions or just waiting in limbo? For more on this, we now speak to Executive Director at the Whistleblowers House, Ben Theron. Ben, good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. So let us just start with your initial response when you saw this latest report.
Good morning. Remember that we need to start this conversation by saying the reason why we could have a Zondo Commission and the State Capture Commission is because whistleblowers came forward. So we owe whistleblowers a great debt in society because the exposures they did then, the results we see now is because of the exposures that were done a few years ago. And it took a while to get where we are today. So we owe the whistleblowers a big debt as society in South Africa because the billions and billions that were lost were exposed after they came forward. The first report that came out, the chair, Judge Zondo, gave indication of the disappointment of how whistleblowers are treated. His absolute request that whistleblowers need to be protected, they need to be encouraged, etc. So we're hoping that with the final report, there will be very specific recommendations that will come out for whistleblowers, and particularly how they should be managed, how they should be handled, and how they should be treasured in South Africa. At the moment, they're not. Everybody appreciates a whistleblower, but the moment they need help, everybody runs away. The initial, if you ask me my initial impressions, it is good. If you look at the Eskom, the Alexkor, the results of those, the results of the commission on those particular items, excellent results. The question is, what next? And what will happen now is further investigations by the MP and the Hawks, and then that need to be taken to the court so people can actually pay back the money and go to jail.
Now, you've mentioned the issue, of course, of what next then, especially, you know, for those that have been implicated in the state capture report. Are you optimistic at all that there will be some kind of prosecutions that will take place?
We are cautiously hopeful. The last thing we need is another committee or another commission to look at the commission's work. The commission's work is very simple. The results of the commission and the recommendations made are very simple. Identified with the asbestos case is this particular person, this is what happened. So what needs to happen is that the MP needs to take that evidence, compile it, and make sure that it's ready for court, and that should proceed.
We do know that the President had said that whistleblowers needed to be better protected. What is happening with that? Do you know, and how are whistleblowers feeling at the moment, especially with the release of these reports?
To be blunt, nothing has changed. And I think it's optimistic to expect 2 months after the President made that announcement, 2 or 3 months, that something major will happen. The state evolves and they move very slowly. But nothing has happened. We've had, since our launch on the 22nd of February, we've had 74 people approaching us for various help. And we've been able to help at least 53 of them in various ways. So we are very proud of what we've been able to do. And we are absolutely going forward with these things.
And with the whistleblowers that you have been able to work with, and those that have also been part of, reporting what has taken place within the country around state capture, what have they told you about their safety, especially now, as we see more and more of these reports coming out?
The scary thing is that whistleblowers are scared. I mean, if you look at the deaths that have taken place, the intimidation, people are being followed. So it is scary to be there. And they are very open with us and say, we fear for our lives. remember that a whistleblower, in many instances, become accidental whistleblowers. So they don't actually want to become a whistleblower. They see something that is wrong, and they just want to report it and move on with their lives. But it doesn't work that way. Once you, and somebody like Afro Williams will talk very passionately about that, but once you come forward, you become the target because people know that the moment the information comes out, that will then affect them in the future, and therefore they want to retaliate against you. The protection levels are not there. We are helping in that. People suffer financially. They need psychological help. They need medical help. And because they've lost their jobs, they can't afford that. Many of the whistleblowers speak to us that are traumatized, and we try to help them in any way we can.
Now
it's a long road, though.
I can imagine that it is a very long road indeed. And you've mentioned the issue of, the issue of not wanting to see another commission investigating this particular commission's work. But what other recommendations would you have for the NPA, or really just what would you like to see happen at the end of the day when all these reports have been put together?
Action need to be taken. People remember, South Africa is absolutely beaten down with the corruptions over the last 10, 15 years that have come forward. It is major stuff that's happening at the moment, and what needs to happen is that the NPA needs to take control over these cases and start running. The President have approved, some 2 years back, where the NPA can have access to the Zondo Commission results and the work they do immediately. So work should have started happening already. So I don't think it should be too long, and we should see results soon. And if you look at what the NPA head said, she indicated that over the next 6 months, major cases will come to court, and we're hoping that that is true, because South Africa needs to see results. We cannot go on and go on and go on in the same trend. We need to have action. We need to have people in court, and we need to have people in orange overalls.
What do you make, Ben, of the people that have been fingered really in these reports?
It's a long road that it's a long journey where we are to get to where we are today. And I must say that the chair should be highly recommended, and for the work that is done, the crisp way that he's come out. But remember, the Commission's work and their vision is not to put people in jail, it's to expose stuff. The MPA must now take over and work with it. But it is fantastic to see how those exposés took place, and how during the process people were very hesitant and they were very skeptical about how the chair was handling the Commission. But the results that came out in the report is very crisp, and I think that it is well worth pursuing to bring people to court and to justice.
That was Executive Director of the Whistleblowers House, Ben Theron. Thank you so much for your time.